wouldn't reach out to about the business because I took pictures of like the wall and posted it. Like, not kidding. Like, I would literally take a picture of my kitchen, like just random pictures. Like, I did not take selfies. I did not have the most like cute pictures like that would want you to like be my friend. Like, I just didn't. So it's just crazy how much changes when you're a part of this business. But
yeah, especially because you like take the cutest selfies now. I'm like,
well, now I love selfies. Yeah, but I didn't before. So now things are so different, and I'm like obviously way more active on social media. I mean, every day. Like, if I'm not posting, I'm dead or something's wrong with me. Like, literally, you'll know if something's wrong with me because I never am not on social media. But anyways, so just so I don't talk too long. But anyways, when I first got started, I knew no one, so I knew I had to be messaging people. And I knew that, you know, I didn't want to do parties. I didn't want to talk to people face to face because I was so shy. I'm still shy. I'm a little less shy than I was when I started, but I am very shy. I don't want to talk to people in person. Now I will, but when I started, I did not want anything to do with it.
You guys, this is so true because, okay, so Cassie and I met on social media. And like, I just reached out to her one day. It was like, we were both Rubies, I think, or about to go Ruby, I think. And I was like, hey, do you want to set goals together? Like, no clue who this chick was, right? I just reached out to her because I just liked her, and I knew we started around the same time, but I liked following her, and I thought, you know, this will be good to help me have somebody keep me accountable. This was before we had like accountability partners, like labeled. And so then the first time I actually met her in person was in October. So it was like, we were really good friends for like 4 or 5 months on social media, talking every day. And then I met her in October at the leadership retreat in Gatlinburg, and I was like, hey girl, you know, like so excited to meet her. She was like, hi. I was like, wait, what? This is not who I thought you were. But I mean, obviously like now, like she's like way more comfortable with me. It's just kind of like, you know, she has to have that initial awkwardness, which is totally fine. But it's so true. It's all I was saying about, you know, what she's saying is totally true. It's not like she's just saying, oh, I was shy so she could relate to more people. You know, she really did like have fears of like, you know, talking to people in person and all that stuff. So anybody out there that feels that way now, like, look how far she's come. So don't give up on yourself.
So true. So true. Yeah. Like when we went to the leadership retreat, there was how many of us? 32. Mm-hmm. And I had not met one of them in person. Erin was literally the only person in that room that I knew. I'd never met anybody in person. And Kelsey was the only person I knew, but had never met in person. And I was like a turtle the whole weekend. Literally, I was a turtle. Like, I did not talk to anybody. I was so shy. Like, it was awful. But that experience got me out of my comfort zone. And now every person in that room is one of my friends in the business, which is crazy. But anyways, not to go into too much detail about that. But so when I got started, I knew that I was going to have to message people. And I was like, okay, I'm going to work social media because that's what's going to be best for my business while I'm working full time, because I can work from my phone. And you know, most people are like, well, I don't have time. I don't have time for this business. I work, blah, 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 blah. You do have time. If it's important to you, you're going to make the time. I'm telling you now, just to go into a little bit more detail, whenever I got started and I worked social media, if you're a hairdresser, if you know a hairdresser, our jobs are very demanding. There's a lot of demanding jobs out there, but being a hairdresser is very demanding. When you are working like where I was, you don't have breaks. You are go, go, go every single minute of every single day. And so my breaks were, I had an assistant shampoo my client while I went to the bathroom and took a selfie and made a post and responded to a message. Like, literally, that's what I did every single day. I made the time. I did not have the time. I made the time. And that's what got me to Diamond in 4.5 months. So I'm telling you now, if you're sitting there making excuses saying that you don't have time, trust me, you do. So not to go into that because I'll talk forever. But anyways, so I knew to get out of my comfort zone, I was going to have to talk to people, and I was comfortable talking to people behind the computer because once I've started a conversation with someone, especially now, I could talk to a stranger all day long. But in person, it's a little different now, but when I started, I was like, heck no. Like, I'm not doing that. I would have never gotten on a Zoom. I remember when me and Kelsey first went Diamond and we had to get on a phone call for our entire team. We used to do like team calls on Wednesdays, and it was kind of like the show me the money call. So like they would do certain ranks every single week. And I remember when we first went Diamond, we both had to be on that call, and I was like freaking the heck out. And as soon as I started talking, I just started bawling, and I don't even know what I said. Like 2 words probably came out of my mouth. Like literally, I was so scared. I did not want to be on that phone call. Like, I'm not kidding. I was so shy. so shy. And I'm still somewhat shy now, but I'm way more open and way more out of my comfort zone now than I ever was when I first started. And I love the person that I'm becoming because of this business. So let this business do something for you. I'm telling you from experience. So as far as messaging, when I first got started and Aaron told me that I had to do that, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm gonna have to talk to people that I don't know. This is gonna be so scary because I was so private on social media. One, I never posted and I never was really active. But two, I was like, if we're not friends in person, which I had no friends, then we're not friends on Facebook. So like, I was anytime I got a friend request or anything like that, like I deleted it. Like I was not friends with anybody on Facebook. Like I was so private. And now I'll go to a boutique and I add all day long. I don't care who you are. I'm adding all day long. And then, of course, when I'm interacting and I'm messaging people, I go through their page. And if it's someone that's negative or doesn't have, if it's just something that I don't click with, or negativity is a big one because a lot of people are negative on social media nowadays, I immediately delete them and I move on to the next person. But I will sit there and add strangers all day long. And don't get me wrong, I'm very careful about it, but I'm way different about adding and messaging now than I was. So when I first got started.
Okay, so hold on. So when you're adding people, how many people are you adding a day? And, or like, what do you shoot for and what do you actually do? And then how long does it take you? Like what's your process of going through that? Like, are these people just coming up on your newsfeed and then you're clicking on them? Or are you being intentional and going through your recently added, or how does that kind of work for you on Facebook?
Yes. So Facebook, I would say I'd probably add, I don't know, probably like 50 people. I try 40 or 50 people a day. It just depends on the day. If I add like the number that I want, like 40, if I add 40 people in a day and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning and I've already done it, then throughout the day, I'll probably add more people because, to be honest, out of those 40 people, 4 might approve because some of my posts are public. And I do that for a reason. Because sometimes if you make posts public, you get a lot more feedback. A lot more people will see it. You get more likes, you get more comments, and it shows up on more people's news feeds. Whereas if it's just for your friends, you're limited to a certain audience, and so some people aren't going to see it. There's a very small algorithm on Facebook of people who do see your posts. So some of mine are public, and for that reason, because it is business related, sometimes people will see it on my page and won't add me. Because they're like, depending on what the post is, but that's just what's in my mind. Like, I just assume that's probably why people don't add me, but I don't have anything on my profile of, I don't say anything about being an It Works distributor. I used to have it as my job description, that I was an independent distributor, but I told Kelsey probably a couple months ago, I was like, dude, I'm adding all these people and none of them are accepting me and I don't know why. And I was like, maybe it's because I have that listed and people just think that I'm going to like spam their page, because let's be honest, there's a lot of distributors out there who post spammy and pictures and advertisements and stuff like that, which we are all taught not to do, because people see that and they don't want to see a picture of, a advertisement of ThermoFit or whatever. I was trying to look for an example, but they don't want to see that. They want to see a picture of you holding the product and why you're using it and what it's doing for you, rather than seeing a picture that you found on Pinterest. Like, that's just bottom line. But anyways, so sometimes people, I feel like, were seeing some of my stuff and they weren't adding me. So I sometimes try to add more than that, because I know realistically that not all 40 people are going to accept my friend request. I add people a lot of different ways, through groups that I'm in, that I randomly get added to, groups that I find just based on interests of mine.
One thing that I want to add too, the boutiques and stuff that you guys see on your Facebook, okay, and on your Instagram, the stuff that comes up, guess what? Those boutiques have paid for you to see them, and for people like you to see those. You need to use that because they've paid for you to get leads, essentially, because those people that they're finding that are like you. And I'm sure Cassie and I have a lot of similar boutiques that like have found us because we're both in this certain age range and we're both, posting about this type of stuff. Like, Facebook knows all this stuff, right? And so that's why Facebook makes money, is because of those people that are paying for those advertisements. And so we don't have to pay for that, you guys. Use that. Use those boutiques. Go to the people who are interacting with those boutiques. A lot of times I like to go to the people who love or react instead of just like, because because I know those people are probably more active on social media because they obviously know how to use the love button versus just the like button. Now, will I never follow likers? No, obviously I will, but I just tend to go to the love or the wows or whatever first and then go to the likers. So that's just like a little tip, but use those boutiques. Those boutiques that come up, don't feel like annoyed by those. Use them, find out who likes them, or if it's an advertisement, because guess what? They're finding the people that are like you, and those are the people that you kind of want to join your business because they just are going to be, you know, just as enthusiastic.
Yeah. And two, like I do that. Those are some of the boutiques that I do as well. And I will actually screenshot anytime a boutique pops up on my Facebook, like when I'm like going through, like interacting with people, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, a freaking new boutique. And I'll screenshot it so I don't forget, because I follow so many boutiques. I forget what the names are. And I might find one day where I'm like, oh, I really love the people that follow this page. I think I could, you know, really relate to some of the girls that are on this page. And I'll start adding. And then tomorrow I forget. And I'm like, oh my God, what was the name of that boutique? And I forget what it was called because I follow so many. So I screenshot it. That way the next day or the next, you know, week when I'm re-adding again, I can go back to that same page and I can refollow some of those people that I didn't get to. Because I'm not just going to go to a boutique and add 200 people. Like, I'm going to go and add a certain amount that I can keep up with, because when I sit down to message people, which now we're going to get into, I go through my recently added. So people who have accepted, like if you go to, I forget where it's at. If you go to Facebook and you click on like your app and you click on, let me see if this is before I tell you. Go to your profile. And then you click on friends. And then right here, it says recent. Right here. So these are all the recent people that have accepted my friend request. So I'll start at the top of the list, because this is someone that probably could have added me today, yesterday, a week ago. Like, it'll only show you up to probably like 20 or 30 people. It just usually just depends on how long your list is. But I will go to the person at the top of the list and I start interacting with their posts. And if it's someone that I really, really, really want to talk to, that I really think could be great at the business, whether they look like they are very outgoing or they have a great personality, or just depending on their posts, you're going to get, you know, you're going to know how you relate to people. I'll go to the top where it says more right here. Oh, crap. Where it says more, and I click on it, and you click see first. Now, what that means, or not more, sorry, following. You click following, and then it says see first. And what that does is every time that you go to your newsfeed, when you log in, if that person has posted something, it's going to be the first thing you see on your newsfeed. It's not going to be like you scrolling through and searching for that person. It's going to be the first thing you see every time they post something. So that's another way that I keep up with people. I know there's lots of different ways. Like Erin's done a training before about how to make different news feeds, so you can keep track of your potentials that way. Which I'll probably do in the future. I just haven't done it yet, but that's one way that I really like to keep up with people. And I also do that on Instagram, because you can turn on post notifications on Instagram, so it will notify you every time that person posts. So obviously my list is very small, and it's people that I intentionally, seriously want on my team. People that I'm building relationships with, especially. I'm not going to add 20 people to my see first on Instagram or Facebook, because if that were the case, especially Instagram, because I would get notifications every 5 seconds about people posting. So I have that list very, very small. And I change it up every now and then, obviously. But I mean, there's just so much that goes into it, but I do screenshot, save, just find like interests of yours. And that's how I add is based on interests. I do add a lot from boutiques. So I tell you, be mindful, just depending on what teams you're on and stuff like that. When you do go to a boutique page, if you're going to start adding people, make sure you check mutual friends. Because if I go to a boutique and I see this cute girl and I'm like, oh my God, I have to add her. Like, I would love to interact with her. And I scroll down and see she's friends with Kelsey. Do you think I'm going to add her? No, because that means Kelsey's probably already interacting with her. And Kelsey's already told her about the business, or she's going to, but she's already her friend. She's already got that ground covered. Don't step on toes. We don't do that. So don't add that person. Go on to the next person. So check mutual friends, because if they are with a person that you know is a distributor, do not add them.
That's so important to like be cognizant and look at that. If you have mutual friends, make sure those mutual friends aren't people that you know or are It Works distributors. Like, I know that when you guys, we've all come so far in this business, but I used to go and add through my suggested friends. Well, who the heck do you think is going to pop up on my suggested friends? A lot of other It Works distributors and a lot of people that they know. So don't do that. Don't go through your suggested friends, because, that's probably not going to be as productive as, finding people who you have nothing in common with. Okay, Cassie. So let's say you find somebody who has no mutual friends, she's kind of a rock star, and or somebody you think would be a rock star, and you messaged her, and what's an example of what you would message?
Like someone that I want to interact with?
Yeah. So you follow her. Mm-hmm. What's your next step?
Okay. So I build relationships with people, but one of the ways that I build relationships with people is by starting conversations. So literally, oh my God, I can't handle. He's so cute. I'm sorry. I'm so distracted. One of the ways that I build relationships with people is I'm going to start a conversation. So if I've looked on their page and they have like really cute sunglasses or really cute outfit or just something I've seen on their page, instead of leaving a comment, I might leave a comment and put like hearts or something. But then I'm going to message them. And I might leave a cold message, or I might say something like, oh my God, girl, I saw these sunglasses on your page. And you can even send them the picture if you want to. And just be like, I really didn't want to blow up your news feed. Like, where did you get them? I have to know. Or like sometimes I'll see girls who have platinum hair. Obviously, I have platinum hair and I love platinum hair. So there's one girl that I follow on Facebook, and I found her on Instagram. And that's what I said to her. I was like, okay, I hope I don't freak you out because I know I don't know you, but like I have to know what your hairdresser uses on your hair. When you go the next time, would you mind asking her and telling me? And I started that conversation with her. And then she came back to me and told me what her hairdresser uses. And now we talk all the time. And now she follows me and now I follow her. So it was a random conversation. But it was something I related to her because we both had similar hair and I was like obsessed with her hair, which is so random, but it doesn't have to be business related, you guys. You just have to build relationships with people. So if I am cold messaging someone, just because you mentioned this earlier, when I first started, my cold message was legit a novel. Like, no joke. It was literally a novel. I was talking about me, my journey, my success, my benefits, all me. It was not about the other person. Now, I never mention my journey, my success, my income, nothing. Nothing about me comes out of my mouth. It is always about them. So if I find someone on Instagram or Facebook, and I tell everyone on my team this is like anytime anybody asks me for advice on messaging, this is what I say over and over and over and over and over, and I'll never change it. If someone comes to me, like I always change my messages now just based on the person that I'm messaging, but if I come across someone and I think that they truly have potential in the business, or it is someone that I think I could connect to, or that just seems like, they might be very outgoing or they have a great personality, or, you can just tell by people's posts, what they post about, how they post, even if they're like really great at social media and they're active on social media, that can be something you tell someone. Hey girl, you're so like, I think you're so, whatever you want to say, like, I see your posts all the time and I just had to reach out to you because I think you'd be amazing at the business that I do, or I think you'd be amazing at what I do. You don't even have to say business. I think you'd be amazing at what I do. And I just had to let you know. And you can even say like, I feel like, because sometimes people will come back at you and they'll be like, well, why? Like, why do you think I would be amazing at this? What are you going to say? If you're not being intentional, what are you going to say? You know what I mean? So you have to make sure you're being intentional with people. So if someone comes back at me with that, I'm going to tell them something I've seen on their page and why I reached out to them. Or sometimes I reach out to people like if I'm following them one big thing that I look at is how often they post. Because if they're not active on social media, then when they get started, they're probably not going to want to work their business through social media. And that's fine because not everybody does. But I do think it is a very important part of this business. I think that, in my opinion, I think everybody should work social media because it's a network that's huge and you can reach so many people. So why would you not? You know what I mean?
Right.
So Anyways, I'm getting off topic.
So read, like, or if not to put you on the spot, but, and you can just, I mean, you probably have it memorized by now because you've said it, you've typed it, but just off the top of your head, like, what would you say to somebody, just to give them kind of like a reference point to somebody who you haven't really like met, don't know, what would you say to them?
Well, I'm going to read it. It's really short. Okay, so for those of you that have an iPhone, I use text replacement.
Yes, yes. Everybody write this down.
So if you have an iPhone, I don't know if you can do it on Samsung, but iPhone you can. You go to your settings, and then I think it's under General.
And then it's under General and then Keyboard.
And then text replacement. And you click the little add button. And basically what it is like, I'm sure y'all have seen like funny videos about this sometimes, like people playing like jokes on their friends and stuff, but like you can type a word, like let's say mine is cold message, so my word is CM, because if I ever type the word cold or message, it's going to fill in everything that I'm about to tell you. So mine says CM, and then it has my cold message, and then you click save. So let's say I come across this person, like let's say I find Kelsey on social media and I'm like, oh, I really want to message her. I'm going to interact with her page and like comment and like some of her pictures. And then I immediately message them. I don't wait, because that's just how I do it. That's what works for me. And that's how I build relationships, because once I start talking to them, even if they tell me no, I'm still going to talk to them. So that's just what I do. So literally I would type in her name, and then I legit type in CM. And then do you see how this little like thing pops up? I hit the space bar.
It's like an autocorrect.
And it automatically fills in the whole paragraph. It's amazing. Literally amazing. It's amazing. Literally amazing. I'm like echoing. Did you hear that? What the hell? Okay, that was really weird. I was like, who's talking? And I was like, wait, that's me. Can you hear me? I can't hear anyone. Oh, you're muted, Kelsey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was like, wait, am I the only one? I can't hear anyone.
No, sorry. I was like literally talking, like, wait, I can hear you. Okay.
I thought that was someone else talking. That was really weird. Okay, so right now, so I have a couple different like things that
one example, it's fine.
Yeah, I just have like very general ones that I edit according to the person that I'm talking to, and I input something about what I've seen on their page. Like I tell them up front in the message why I want them on my team without saying I want you on my team, because I never mention the business. So right now mine says, hey girl, I know this is random, but I feel like you and I have so much in common. And I use a lot of emojis too, by the way. I think you'd be so amazing at what I do, and I would love to tell you all about it. I would like to talk to you and see if this is something that could benefit you. When are you free? This is something, who told me this? A girl on my team named Allison. I'm pretty sure that's who it was, if she's on here. She told me this. I forget where they saw it, but somebody saw this on a training on my team and told me about it last weekend, and I was like, that is a game changer. And I think it was Tiffany Her that said it. But anyways, besides the point. Basically what they said was, they don't give the person the power to come, like, to, how do I want to word this? By saying, when are you free? I'm telling them we're going to talk. When are we going to talk? It's not a matter of, because I used to say, would you be interested in hearing more about it? Some people will read that and not respond, but I'm being very like blunt, and we're going to talk whether you like it or not. Like, that's pretty much how I go about it. Now, some people still ignore me. Some people don't respond. And that's just something that I've been trying, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. So that's just what I say. Like I said,
I want to like reiterate something.
Yeah.
Everything that Cassie is doing is constantly changing. There's no secret potion that she has. Now, I made her read that message to you guys to show that, like, what she's saying is probably very similar to what you guys are saying. But what she's doing is probably just reaching out to more people. And at the end of the day, you know, these little tips are meant to help you, but you have to find what works for you. And the only way you can do that is through trial and error. So don't be afraid to change something up, but give it some time. Like, if it works, for a week or a month, then keep doing what you're doing. It might sound totally different than Cassie's message, but if it's working for you, let it work for you. If something's not working, then be open to changing it, but don't try to change it too fast. Okay. There's a fine line between, being flexible, but also like trying so many things that you don't even know what's working because you're changing it up so often. So really try to give yourself a big sample size when you're trying these different tips that she's talking about.
Yeah. And I also want to point out, you guys, like I'm always changing my cold message, but my cold message is just to get someone's attention. Like it's not my cold message that seals the deal with people. What seals the deal with people is the conversation I have that follows the cold message. After I've gotten their attention and I start talking about the business, that's what, like, and trust me, there's plenty of times where people ignore me or they don't respond or they don't want to enroll because it's not their time. I'll talk to people for a year before they ever even sign, for 2 months, for a week, a day. You just don't know when people are going to be ready for something like this. You just don't. So you just have to know that like there's no secret message that you can send someone that's going to make them want to join your team. There's just not. You have to be intentional with who you're talking to, who you're reaching out to, and when you're talking to them, like the conversation that you're having with them. So do you want me to talk about like my conversations?
Yeah. So you message them and they message you back and they say, well, what do you do? What's your favorite response?
So I have another text replacement. I'm telling y'all, I live by them. And it's biz, B-I-Z, because I don't use words that I commonly use in a conversation, because if you do, it will fill it in and you won't realize it if you hit the space bar. So mine says biz. And literally all it says is, I work for a health and wellness company with 30 plus products. I literally get paid to share product and the business by posting on social media because I work my entire business through social media. We are Christian based and 100% debt free. Have you ever considered something like this as an extra income before? That's what I say.
So this is huge. And my favorite thing about this that Cassie says is that she ends in a question, because I think a lot of times what happens is we kind of get stuck in these conversations, right? How many times have you guys messaged and somebody says, so what do you do? And then you send something back and then they don't ever respond. Well, they don't respond because they don't, what are they supposed to say? Like, congrats, good job. Like I want to know what to say if somebody did not ask a question after that. Like, you want to ask something that requires, or say something that requires a response. So when are you free? That's a question that needs an answer. Even if they don't answer that question, they're more likely to respond in some sort of way. The next question, have you ever considered doing anything like this from income? Okay. So that's a key point that I want to point out. So it doesn't have to be that exact message that Cassie's sending, and it shouldn't be. It should be something in your own words, but it needs to be a question, or it needs to be something that requires a response. Like, I think sometimes I say something very similar, like, we're a health and wellness company, and I get paid to post on social media, and it's awesome. But I reached out to you, and I always circle back to, like Cassie said, making it about them. But I reached out to you because I know people, I see how many people love you on social media, and I love following your page. You're so positive, and I think you could be so successful at this business. Have you ever thought about making extra income from your phone? Or something to that extent. But like she said, just do something to keep the conversation going. Okay. And they say, no, I haven't really thought about it.
Okay.
I'll have those people who are like, okay, can you give me some more? But they don't give you any more. And they're typically the ones that are like on your dream team that you want on your team, that don't give you anything. But sometimes people are just scared and they don't want to say the wrong thing. So they're very short, but don't take that as them being not interested.
No, some people are like, who the hell is this girl messaging me? Why is she messaging me? I have no idea who this is. And they won't open up to you. Like, that's how I would be. Like, if someone messaged me that I didn't know, I'd be like, no, like, who are you? Like, if I wasn't a part of the business, like, I would be scared to message someone back. So sometimes people are short because they don't know you. It's not that they don't want to talk to you. So that's why.
And a lot of times too, it's okay to say that, right? Like a lot of times in my cold message, I'll say, hey, I know this is going to sound really crazy and you probably think I'm a psycho. Like, and I'll say something funny because that's what I would say. What you want to message is what you guys want to say out loud, what you would say when you're talking to somebody. Because if you don't, they're going to be like, when you end up talking to them on the phone, they're going to be like, this is not what I expected her to sound like. And you're going to sound weird to them. Yeah. So that's what I would say is you want to try to make it something, say it out, read it out loud and ask yourself if it would be something you would say before you start sending.
Yeah. And if, like Kelsey said, if it's somebody that I message that is short and says no, like literally N-O, and I'm sitting here like, really? Okay, what do I say to no? Okay, so what I do is if it's someone that I really wanted to message, like Kelsey said, what if it's someone you really want on your dream team and they're just really short with you and they don't want to talk to you? If it's somebody that I really, because I'm very, very intentional with who I message. Like I don't just message everybody on my friends list. I just don't, because I want to message people that I truly think I can relate to, that I think could be successful at the business. And that's not saying that I'm not going to message someone because I don't think they can be successful. It's just I want to message people that I think I can relate to, because that's how you build those relationships. So if there is somebody that I message that I really, really think could be benefit from the business, and they just are very short and they just come back with like a no, I literally put a monkey face, like the little monkey emoji, like that covers its eyes. And I say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you responded to me because I didn't think you were going to. Like, I'm straight up honest with them. Like, I didn't think you were going to message me back. I'm so glad that you did. I would love to tell you more about what I do. That's what I say.
Okay.
So if they say no, that's something that I usually say if it's somebody who really wanted a message, which is 99% of the people that I message. Or you could say something like, I don't know, you could reiterate like something you've seen on their page. Like,
so, yeah, sometimes like I'll say, if they say no, or something like, no, I've never thought about it. I'll say something like, girl, you're crazy for not thinking about it. Yeah. Your social media looks so awesome. I thought you were a professional. Like, I'll say something like that, because literally sometimes people's social media, they like should get paid for it because it looks so pretty and they have like 10,000 followers and you're like, what is going on? Why are you not getting paid for that? Yeah. And I'll say something like that. So, that's another thing you could say, or, you could say, that's so funny because I never thought about doing it before I did. And I never thought this would be something I would be doing in a million years. These are all things I would say in conversation, you guys. So those are just other suggestions that you can use too.
Yes, I love that. Love that.
Okay. So at what point, because we all talk about getting people on the phone and how important it is to actually have conversation with them. At what point do you kind of either, especially if you're on Instagram, ask for their Facebook or their phone number, or if you're on Facebook, ask for their phone number?
I immediately ask for their phone number. I don't ask for their Facebook. I find them on Facebook. And if I can't find them on Facebook, then I ask them. But literally, if they've responded to me and they've mentioned in any way, oh my gosh, yes, I've heard of the business. Because sometimes they won't ask if it's it, like they won't ask what the business is called, but they immediately go to my page and like stalk me and find out that It Works. And they'll say, oh my gosh, yeah, I've heard of It Works before. And that's how I know, because how else would they know I didn't tell them? So sometimes they'll be like, oh my gosh, yes, I've heard of it. I've just never really gone after it. I didn't have the right information. I don't think I can be good at it. I don't know enough people. They start shooting all these excuses at you. And at that point, I know that they've already probably considered it and they've seen it on social media or something like that. This is just a particular instance. As soon as I get that message of some kind of like some interest, and I'm not talking like, yes, I've thought of an extra income. I'm talking like a response like that I can start a conversation until I've gotten to that point in the conversation, if that makes any sense. I immediately go on Facebook and I find them. If they have their full name in their profile. Some people don't. Some people will just have their first name.
So a lot of times if people don't too, what I'll do, like if they don't have their full name, because I personally, like I prefer not to message on Instagram. I find it a little bit harder for myself to keep up with, and Instagram limits how much you can send at once. So a lot of times like I'll have my story and my text replacement and I'll just type my story and then it will autocorrect, but I can't do that on Instagram because it's not long enough or it's too long. So what I'll do is I'll say, hey girl, I would love, or like if they want more information, I'll say, would you be open to hearing about it? And if they say yes, and I'll say, great. I can't wait, like put a little emoji, like with the dancer emoji or whatever you want to put. And then I'll say, Insta limits how much I can send through here. Is Facebook or text easier? Okay. I learned this in parenting, you guys. Okay. You always want to give people choices, but and you want to give your kids choices, but you want to give them a choice that's always going to make you win. Okay. Do you want green beans or broccoli, Mac? I don't care which one she has, but she's getting her damn vegetables. Okay. I don't care if you find me on Facebook or if I text you, but I'm going to find you and you're going to sign up with me as a distributor. Okay. That's kind of how you guys want to do it. You want to give them a choice, and let them feel like they have some sort of control. Because a lot of times if you say, can I put you on Facebook? Sometimes they might say, I don't know. But then if you say Facebook or text, they're like, oh, maybe not text, but I'll add her on Facebook. So giving them that option, I think really has helped me.
Yeah, I do that too. I say same thing. Like if they say they're interested and they would like to talk more about it, they're like, what is your business or what do you do? And I say, I'm not sure if you noticed. And then I put the text replacement that I just read to you all about what the business is. And usually they'll say they've heard of it or they haven't, because they'll look at my page and figure out what it is. Like that's usually what they do. And then immediately after that, if it's someone that I really want to talk to, I immediately go find them on Facebook if I can find their name. And then I tell them, I say, hey, I just added you on Facebook. Like I tell them, like I don't ask. And then I will, because I really do. I hate messaging on Instagram because I keep things very simple, but I'm very personal in my conversations. So I just hate typing. And Instagram does limit how much you can send people. So I'm not saying I send novels because I'm going to tell you what I do in a second, but I just don't like it. So I will tell them I've added them on Facebook. And then I say, would it be okay for me to message you on Facebook or even text you? And if they're comfortable texting, usually they'll send me their number. But if they're not, then I message them on Facebook. And here's why. 99% of the time they have an iPhone. If they don't, and it's a cell phone, I still message them on Facebook. And the reason is because I voice message every day, all day long. That's all I do. I never hardly ever text. Even if we have a personal conversation and we're friends in the business, I hardly ever text. I always voice message if I have the ability to. And This is why. I've been doing this. I probably should have been doing this like the whole time I've been in the business, but I really didn't think to do it or know that it existed until probably the past like 4 or 5 months. I would say maybe 4 months. But I've been really solely just utilizing that for the past like 2 months, I would say. And that, I swear to God, that is how I signed 15 distributors last month. I swear. Not just that, but when I voice message someone on Facebook, it sucks because it only lets you talk for a minute. And I send like 3-minute long text, like voice messages, just depending on what question I'm answering or something like that. But, so that's the only thing I don't like about Facebook, voice messenger, but I do it on Facebook as well as text. Because people can hear your excitement. People can hear your passion. People can hear your confidence in the business, and they relate to what you're saying. And by a voice messenger, it's just like watching a video, and you can make people feel something through your voice. And in a text, through words, people can misconstrue what you're saying, and you're not making people feel anything. And sometimes you are, but it's a little bit harder to get that emotion across. I am so yellow. If you know me, I'm so yellow. So it is so hard for me to limit what I'm saying and relate to someone in words rather than just telling them in a voice message. And by doing that,
messages also save you guys a ton of time.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like I should have been using voice messages admittedly a long time ago because I did know about them. But I was just always scared, like, oh my God, what if Max starts screaming? But I actually kind of like it when I have like something in the background because I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm changing a diaper, and make them know that like my life is crazy too. Because guess what? Nobody's going to join this business because they're sitting there like this saying, what can I do? I think I might really like to sell some freaking wraps. No, that's not why anybody joins this business. People join this business because they need this business and because they feel like they might not have time to join this business, but guess what? You're going to show them what they do. And by you like creating that is going to also show them that they can do it too. And that they can do it through voice messaging. How easy is it when you're driving to just send a voice message? I mean, I don't even text anymore, you guys. I send voice messages to my friends. Like me and Cassie about this whole Zoom, we just voice messaged about how we were setting it up. No joke.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to say something real quick. If y'all have any questions or anything, at the bottom of your screen, there's a button that says chat. and if you click on it, it opens like a messenger on the right-hand side, and you can type a question so that we can see it and answer it, since all of y'all are muted. Just so y'all know, if you have questions, feel free to ask them so we can see them.
Yeah.
I meant to do that in the beginning and I forgot. Sorry.
So let's say so right when you add them on Facebook, then do you start to voice message?
Mm-hmm.
And you just say hey, thanks so much for the ad. I'm so excited to tell you more about the business.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find one while I'm talking. So if I immediately message them on Facebook, I'm just going to be like, hey girl, it's Cassie from Instagram. And usually they're like, oh, hey. And then I will, okay, so this is one. Oh, this one I didn't even say anything. I just started voice messaging her. So this one particularly, I found her on Instagram, and it was so hard to get in touch with her because she would never check her Instagram messages. So quit being a creep, weirdo. So he's just looking and being weird. So this girl was just really hard to get a hold of, and usually on Instagram it is, and it annoys the crap out of me. So I'll immediately add them on Facebook if I can find them. But this one specifically, I just sent her a voice message right off the bat. And that's what I say. Hey, it's Cassie from Instagram. Because usually the only time I would do that is if we were already having a conversation on Instagram and I'm answering a question. Because once they start asking questions, I'm voice messaging. I'm not typing. So it really just depends. This other one, I answered her question in a text, and she asked me a question, and I started voice messaging her. So I don't wait. I just immediately start voice messaging. And I think that really kind of breaks the ice and makes people start relating to you more, especially when it's someone you don't know, because they can hear your voice. And because to me, if I was talking to someone, let's say Kelsey messaged me on Instagram and I was not a part of the business and was asking me about the business. And then she added me on Facebook and said, hey, can I message you on Facebook instead? And I'm okay, cool. And she sends me a message, and then I see a voice message. I'm going to be oh my God, she just voice messaged me. What is she going to say? It makes me nervous because I'm shy. And I was so shy when I started. And this is not something I would have done when I started. That's why I told you guys I've just been solely doing this the past 2 months, because now I'm so confident in the business, and I'm so passionate about it. That is why I voice message, because I want people to hear that. And that's not something that I truly think people can feel through text. So
one thing too, that's a really important thing, I think, about voice messages is if you guys are in a slump, let's say you haven't signed a distributor this month, or you haven't signed a distributor in the last 2 months. I think voice messaging can really change your business, because when you start talking about how excited you are to somebody else, it's going to get you excited. Okay. Because what can happen is if you're just sitting there and you're typing, you're this girl's never going to respond. I'm just wasting my time typing this long message that's taking me forever. And I'd rather be playing with my kids, or I'd rather be, watching TV, whatever the case might be. It can get exhausting. It can get freaking exhausting sending out all those messages with nobody responding and sending out. I get it. I've been there. Okay. But when you start talking, actually talking, that's why, when you're on when you're talking to your sidelines or whatever, and you start talking, you start believing it, okay? And you start reinvigorating yourself about the reason why you love this business so much, because you're trying to convince somebody else, but you're also convincing yourself, okay? And every day when you're talking about how awesome this business is, you're going to really see more confidence build and build and build, and your voice messages are going to get better. Are you going to slip up? Oh my God, you guys, I was voice messaging this girl the other day. Deuce burped so loud during the middle of the voice message, and you can't go back on Facebook and erase it. And I literally just sent her a laughing voice message for 5 minutes after that, because I was oh my gosh, you guys, I was so embarrassed, but she loved it. She was oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's so cute, whatever, because that's real. You guys, we don't want everybody to think that we live these perfect lives. Yeah, our pictures can sometimes they make our lives seem more perfect than they are, absolutely. But when they get to know you, they want to know the real you. They don't want to know the you that always has your makeup perfectly done and your hair perfectly done and all that stuff. And so that's why I love voice messages, because I really think it can help to convince yourself again why you joined. Because let's be honest, everybody has those those rough months, those rough weeks, whatever it might be for you. And when you have to start convincing somebody else to join, or when you start sharing this business with somebody else, you can really learn a lot about yourself too. Mm-hmm. So that's my 2 cents on that. But how embarrassing is that about Deuce? Oh my God. I was like, seriously, Deuce? Seriously? But anyways, okay. So you just start voice messaging, and what is your best tip for like sealing the deal? Okay. Because I know, and this happens to both of us because we always talk about it, when we have those people who say, yeah, girl, I'm going to sign on Friday. I'm ready. Let's do it. And Friday comes and you don't hear from them.
Oh yeah. That's happened to me so much this month. Kelsey knows this. So, I mean, you guys, like, just to be honest, like, I've literally probably had 6 people this month who have told me that I'm going to sign Friday. I'm going to sign Monday. I'm going to sign Saturday. I'm going to sign this day. Legitimately, I'm going to sign. Like, we have talked about everything. They know how much it costs. They know what goes into it. There's no secrets. They know everything. And then the day comes, and I'm very good about following up with people before that day. So if we talk on a Saturday and they say, I can't sign till next Friday, like a week later when I get paid, I'm like, okay, cool. I'll put you in my calendar and I'll follow up with you on Friday. But like Tuesday, I'm going to message them and be like, how's your week going? Thursday, I'm going to message them and I'm going to be like, hey girl. Yeah, I literally, half the time I just say tomorrow, like I'm so excited. Like literally, that's what I say. And sometimes I send voice messages and I'm like, I'm so excited for tomorrow. I can't wait to get you started. You know, I hope that you're excited. I'll message you then. Like something as simple as that. But like, I literally say that all the time. Like, I can't wait for tomorrow. I always do that every single time because I want them to know that I'm not going to forget and that like, I'm going to follow up with them and we're going to sign them up because they've told me they're going to enroll. And I've had so many people this month particularly do this back to back to back to back. And you have to remember, even though, you know, sometimes, how do I want to word this? Sometimes it's just not people's time. And I'm saying this from experience because I've had frustration with it and I've had to talk to Kelsey about it because she's my accountability partner, and I'll call her and be like, what do I do? Like, help me not lose my mind right now. Like it happens and we get frustrated, but you have to know. And it's funny because half the time when those people do join your team and they start messaging people, they get frustrated because people are ignoring them. And I'm like, yeah, but remember when you did it to me? So remember that you did it too. So it's not always that people are, you know, sometimes people don't have the money. And they just don't want to talk about it because I didn't have the money. And like, I made an impulse decision. I borrowed money from family and I did it right then and there because I knew if I didn't, I would never sign up. Because I knew if I thought about it, I wouldn't do it. So in my case, it was a little different because Erin didn't even have the chance to follow up with me because I signed up the day that I called her. But every instance is different. But
so I have this quote, and I found it last night. I almost sent it to you, Cassie, but it says, thinking deepens fear and action crushes fear. Okay. Because so many times that can happen, right? And a lot of times, and Cassie's going to talk about this, a lot of times what happens is that people just get scared. Okay. They don't have money. They get scared. They don't know if it's going to work out. They second guess everything because they've had 2 weeks to think about it since their last paycheck came. And they've been thinking about it every single day since then. And they just are questioning everything. Like, is this what I should put my $99 into? Whatever. And our job is to let them know that is okay to think that. It's okay to feel that way. I felt that way when I first joined. Everybody feels that way and that is normal, but I won't let you fail. I'm going to show you how you can be successful. If you are willing to do, you know, the steps that I show you, it's my job to help you and help them, you know, conquer that fear and just make sure that they know that they're not in it alone. And they'll never be alone in this business if they don't want to be. There's always going to be somebody they can reach out to. There's always going to be a sideline, an upline, a downline, whoever that's going to be there. And if you don't believe that, then you need to start believing it because people are going to tell that you don't believe that. Okay, keep going.
So I actually learned something at the last training we had in Dallas by Ashley Sinclair, which was last weekend, I think it was. and some of the presidentials ambassadors were up there, and they were talking about things that they say when they're following up to potential distributors for sealing the deal. And these are things that I always take away from trainings. And this is why we always talk about why it's so important to go to an event, because I've been to several One Team, One Missions in Houston. I've been to 2 or 3 in Houston, and I've been to 2 in Dallas, because those are the closest ones to me. And those are the only ones that have really been offered in my area since I started. But I get something out of it every time I go. And it doesn't matter if it's the same person hosting it, because this was the second one that Ashley Sinclair has done. And it wasn't really a One Team, One Mission. It was called a Whole Nother Level training. But it was, instead of there being like a mock rap party, which is what they do at most One Team, One Missions, it was really just a training. But it was a lot of the same training she did at her previous One Team, One Mission. It was a lot of repeated information, but it was told in a different way. And I got something out of it both times. There was something that I took from it, because there were other people up there that weren't there at the previous one. And there were things that she mentioned she didn't mention at the first one. So there's, you always have to get to events. If they're near you, go. I am telling you, they will change your business, and there will be something that you take from it that is going to light your fire, and you're going to take off. So this is something that one of the presidentials mentioned, and I just heard it and it stuck with me, and I was like, oh, I love that. Because it's something that I would say, but I didn't really know how to put into words. Because when I follow up with people, I kind of say a lot of different things in different ways. But it really just comes down to reminding them of their why. And that is the first question that ever comes out of my mouth when I message someone, which is what I haven't really talked about yet. And that's what I wanted to touch base on before I tell you what this message is. But when I'm messaging someone, like when me and Kelsey were going back and forth, and, I send them my cold message and they say, yeah, I'm interested in an extra income. Great. Can I add you on Facebook or send you a text? And they'll say, okay, here's my number. No problem. Okay. So I text them and I say, hey girl, it's Cassie from Instagram. Oh, hey, how are you? How's your day? Oh, it's great. Okay. So I have to ask you, this is the first thing that comes out of my mouth every single time. I don't care if they reach out to me or if I reach out to them. Okay. I have to ask you, what is it that interests you in starting your own business? Why do you think that you could benefit from something like this? I would love to get to know you better and figure that out, so we can figure out if this is going to benefit you. That is the first thing that comes out of my mouth. And guys, I did not say this when I first started. Like I said, my messages were me, because I thought if I was telling people, I've gained so many friendships through this business. Like, I'm making good money. Like, so much has changed for me. Who cares? They don't care what the business has done for you. Yeah, that's great. But what is it going to do for them? They don't want to join you based on what it's done for you. They want to see your success and be inspired by it and think, damn, if she can do that, I can, right? They just want to be related to. Someone is out there watching me right now who probably had the same career as me, who, what's tomorrow? Wednesday? Is tomorrow Wednesday? No, tomorrow's Tuesday. I'm totally off. Tomorrow's Tuesday. So most salons are closed. This is just an example. Most salons are closed on Sundays and Mondays. So someone's going to see my post tomorrow morning that I post about a quote and how I didn't have to wake up to an alarm, and I'm enjoying my day and spending my day exactly how I want to. Maybe I'll go to the pool, or maybe, I'll sit on my couch and message people, but I'm working wherever I want, whenever I want. And someone's on my newsfeed right now, probably in the same situation that I was in a year ago, and they're going to see that post and think, man, if she could do this while she was working full-time doing exactly what I'm doing right now, there's no reason I can't do that. And my journey is going to inspire them. And that is why it's so important to share your story over and over and over and over through Facebook or Instagram, or your posts, through videos, voice message, whatever. But when I'm talking to someone in a message, I never tell them my story. I never tell them my success. I never tell them what money, like what my income is. Nothing comes out of my mouth about me unless they specifically ask. And if they do ask, I am very blunt and very short with my answer. Unless it is someone that I can relate to, and I can tell them, I was scared too. I didn't have the money to get started. I had no friends when I started this business. I worked full-time when I started this business. I am young and I don't have children. Whatever those things are that I relate to them in their story, those are the things that I'm going to bring up about my story. But I'm not going to sit there and tell them my story or anything like that, because I used to do that. And there were certain times that I got good feedback from it. But at the end of the day, and I remember telling Kelsey this, and I sent her my message one day, this was months ago, and I was like, I ended my cold message with, I would love to share my story with you if you're interested in hearing it. And Kelsey was like, why would you say that? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And she was like, well, I mean, it's great for you to share your story, but someone, might read that and think, yeah, I would love to hear it. But someone else might read it and be like, well, that's cool, like that it did that for you, but what is it going to do for me? And then I thought about it and I was like, oh, you're so right. So I never said it again. And there are very few times that I ever share my story. And if I do, I lead them to my Facebook and have them watch my story on a video. I don't tell it to them because I want them to see it. But the first thing that ever comes out of my mouth is, why do you need this business? What is it that interests you? Why do you think you want to start it? Why do you need a couple extra $100 a month? And then after they've told me and I've kind of related to them on whatever they've said, I send them an income chart. And I say, I want you to look at this chart and I want you to realistically tell me what number would help you, because everybody's going to point to Ambassador and say, I want to make 40 grand a month. Everybody wants that. But realistically, where do you see yourself in the next 3 months? And what are you willing to do to get there? That's what I asked them.
So I want to point out a couple of things, and I love this so much. I was literally just like freaking out, right, listening to this. Number one is because I feel like a lot of people on here say, I don't know what to message people because I don't have a success story. Okay. Cassie doesn't even use her story, you guys. And sometimes I found that when I have used my story, a lot of people will quit earlier because they think that that's going to be them in 2 months. Okay. And I'm not trying to give them that false expectation, because let's be honest, this business is not easy. It's very simple, but it's not easy. Okay. And when people hear, oh my gosh, well, you got to diamond in 4 months and I'm 4 months in and I'm only at executive, and then they have resentment, and then they have, but when you start asking them, why do you want this business? Why do you think this is something that you'd want to do? It starts reinforcing why they would do that. Like why this is a good idea for them. Because sometimes they might not have even convinced themselves yet, but by you asking that question, you're allowing them to start convincing themselves of why this is a good idea. And them convincing themselves is way, way more convincing than you convincing them. Because nobody knows them better than they know themselves. And that's what I wanted to point out about why I love Cassie's, her progression of her messages so much, because I think that, she really does get to know them, because when you ask those questions, people a lot of times just need people to talk to too. And you'd be surprised how many people will be more than willing to open up to you when you actually genuinely care and you come across that way in your messages. Okay. So somebody says, thanks, but I don't know enough people. What do you say?
I get that a lot, actually. And to be honest, I mean, obviously I voice message, but to be honest, the first thing that I say is, I love that you said that, because I didn't know anybody when I got started either. And that's how I relate.
So Cassie tells her story, but it's when people give objections, when people give rebuttals, that's when she inserts the part of her story, because she's relating to them, you guys. It's not just, here's my story.
Yeah.
Here's a part of my story that you can relate to, and I'm telling you this because you can relate to it. Okay, she wants to know their story to help them write it, but she's telling them her story when they start showing fears that she had as well. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everybody, because that can kind of blow your mind if you start thinking about how you're really sharing your story, but you might not be sharing it in the sense of the sharing story. So you say, you kind of just share your story and you say, that I'm really glad you said that, because I felt the same exact way when I started, and you tell a little bit about how your journey, which you've already told a little bit of us. Okay. Last question, because I don't want this to go too long. And I just realized it already's gone over an hour. Oh my God. Okay. The rebuttal I get the most is, I don't have enough time. I'm already working 2 jobs. What do you say to that?
I tell them kind of same thing. I say, when I started, I worked 40 plus hours a week. I had a demanding schedule and I did not have time for this business. However, I worked it from my phone every chance I got on social media because that was the best way for me to work it. And I can teach you how to do the exact same thing. That's what I say. And sometimes I'll even mention that I have lots of friends in the business or business partners who go to school, who work full-time, who have kids. I mean, I just give random stories kind of like that. Like not a story, but like I'll tell them instances. Like one of my best friends in the business has 2 kids and she worked full-time and now she does this full-time and has her family. Like I'll give little, things like that sometimes, but it just depends on the person. But what I wanted to say really quick before you end this is the reason why you have to get their why out of them, and you'll hear this on every training you listen to. Almost every leader will tell you that is what you have to figure out. Your why in this business has to be so strong that it pushes you every single day. And the reason why that is the first thing I ask people, you guys, is because if you're talking to someone and, you're telling them, let's say you message them and you say, I'd love to have you on my dream team. Can I tell you more about what I do? Or whatever you say. And, or you say in your cold message, if you straight up just say, are you interested in making a couple extra $100 a month, and you have no idea who the person is, one, they're going to feel like they're being sold to, or they're going to feel like that you just want to make money off of them. That's what I would feel like. So that's one reason why I don't do that. 2, if someone responds to you like that and they say, yeah, actually, I'd really be interested in making a couple extra $100 a month. And you immediately say, oh, okay, awesome. I'd love to tell you more about what I do. So I'm a networks distributor. It's $99 to get started. You get all of this stuff in your kit. You're going to make this much money a month. Like this is what we do. This is what you're going to be posting about. If you tell them all that information, 1, they're going to get overwhelmed. 2, just don't do that. And 3, here's why I say you shouldn't do that. Because if they read a message and they say, oh my God, it's $99 to get started, I don't need that. I don't have $99. They're immediately going to be turned off. They're going to give you every excuse to why they don't want the business, and they're immediately just going to be like, no, sorry, thanks. But if you come at them and you're asking them why they want a couple extra $100 a month, why they want to start their own business and what they want out of the business and why they want to be successful, then they're going to see the $99 and think, oh my God, can I afford not to spend $99? Like I'm just sitting here thinking of all the reasons why I need extra income so I can pay for my groceries and my gas and take my family on vacations and pay for summer camp and, school supplies and all this stuff. Like $99 really isn't that much, but like I don't have it to spend right now. So can I contact you whenever I have it? They're going to be way more interested because now you've made them sit there and think about why they actually need it rather than just shooting a number at them. And they're going to be like, why do I need to spend $99 to start a business? Do you see what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons why I say that. And here's the best way to word it. Because I watch so many different videos of so many different leaders. And this is something I've been doing for a really long time. And Kelsey will even tell you that because we talk about it all the time. But I watched this video. I watched Sarah Rankin. If you guys don't know who Sarah Rankin is, I follow her. She's very opposite of me. So I like learning different things from her, just like Kelsey. But she made this video with a girl on her team, and I think it's on her YouTube, and it's called Wine Time with her and someone else. I can't remember, but it starts with like it's wine time or something. And it's a pretty long video, but I watched it the other night, and one of the things she talks about is exactly what I just said. And I was like, oh my God, someone else does it too. And so I took away from something she said, and what she asks people is she says, what do you want out of this business? Why do you want it? And what is stopping you? Those are the 3 most simple questions that you can ask someone. Why do you want it? Or what do you want? Why do you want it? What is stopping you? Because when they're thinking about all the reasons what they want out of the business, I need to pay for summer camp. I need, grocery money. I need gas money, whatever. I need a couple extra $100 so I don't have to work 3 jobs and spend time with my kids. Why do I want that? Reiterate the why all over again. So I can spend time with my kids. So I don't have to stress about paying bills on time. So I have the extra money to spend when I need to spend it. You reiterate the why twice. Okay. That's why your why is so important. What the hell is stopping you? Period. Because if you wait 4 or 5 months or a year, you're going to be stuck in the same exact place that you were the first time that we talked. And I even tell people that now. Because now I'm getting to the point where I'm so confident in it and I'm so passionate about it that I know what this can do for people. And all I want to do is help them do it. And that's why you have to be passionate and you have to be excited and you have to be confident in what you have your hands on, because you have an opportunity that can change someone's life, including your own. And who are you not to share that with someone? So when you're making them think about why they need it, and I straight up say, like, even people I've been talking to for like 6 months or shorter than that, I'm like, girl, what's stopping you? I just have to ask, because I'm sitting here and I can't stop thinking about you, and I keep seeing all of your posts on Facebook, and I just know how awesome you'd be at this, but I also keep thinking about how far you could be in this business and how successful you could already be by now had we gotten started 6 months ago. And they'll respond and be like, oh my God, I know you're right. I just really need to find the $99 to get started. And I'm like, well, let's talk about pre-selling your wraps. And then you can start helping them do that. And then they're really going to know that you care about them and that you're not just sitting there. You know, I'm not going to sit there and talk to someone for a year if I don't think they're going to be successful. And that's not, again, not saying you know who's going to be successful and who's not. Like, who are you to say that about someone? But, you know, if you're building that relationship for a year and you get to know that person, like, you're going to know if they really want it or not, because they're not going to follow up with you for a year and then never do it. They're just not. It might take them 2 years or 3 years watching you, but eventually it's going to be their time, because they won't keep talking to you about it, telling you they want to do it if they're not.
Yep.
So just remember that everyone has their time. So I'm going to stop talking now.
I love it. Well, I mean, it's kind of par for the course that we go over time as usual.
Whatever.
I love it. And I hope this was so helpful for you guys. Thanks for jumping on. We had a really good turnout, and so I'm pumped about that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me. My Facebook, just send me a message request if we're not friends. And if we are friends, just shoot me a message. But I really love pouring into you guys. You guys are so awesome. I see you all writing your notes, and it gets me so encouraged. But like I said, really don't just listen to this, okay? Don't just listen to this and say, oh my gosh, these are such good ideas, I'm going to do it. Do it. Like, actually put this into action. Nothing will change in your business if you don't put this into action. I have people come to me all the time, well, Kelsey, I watched this training, and Kelsey, I've been messaging this many people. Message more. Right when you feel like you can't message anymore, or you don't want to keep going, go, because that's when a breakthrough happens. Okay. And you just have to realize that. You just have to know that this business is going to teach you so much about yourself. If it hasn't already, it's going to. You're going to go through strengths. You're going to go through good times. You're going to go through bad times. And guess what? The bad times are going to tell you a lot about yourself. So keep pushing. August is not over. It's not even half. It's 31 days in August, so it's not even halfway over. So keep going, you guys. Fill out your steps to success. Even if you haven't gotten one customer or one distributor, keep pushing, because we believe in each of you, or we want to be doing these Zoom trainings. I love you guys. Thanks so much.